Om Shrutismriti-Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bhattarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmatacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Beta Vibhagine Vyomavatu Yapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukaro Anthakaro Vai Rukarastan Anthakara Nirodhitvat Gururityavidhiyate. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanav Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidya Acharyaya Nachiketase Namaha. So, almost 1.5 years, we are seeing the Kaṭha Upaniṣad based on Shankara's commentary. Kaṭha Upaniṣad belongs to Krishna Yajurveda, and the last portion of the Vedas are called Vedanta or Upanishad. The first portion of the Vedas are called Karma Kanta, and the last portion is called Jnana Kanta. First portion of the Vedas mostly talks about the different actions to be performed in this world for accomplishing certain desired things or neutralizing our own misdeeds, or different types of meditations, different types of offerings towards the Lords, which I believe all these are in the form of different actions. It's called karma kanda. The last portion has a different subject. It talks about a reality which is all pervading in this universe, but formless. For the time being, we can call consciousness. That consciousness is the main topic of Vedanta or Upanishad. So, one of the Vedas, Yajurveda, and it is in two, Shukla Yajurveda and Krishna Yajurveda. And in the Krishna Yajurveda, there is a portion called Kaṭakam. There it obtains this Upanishad. So it's called Kaṭha Upaniṣad. As I told you, the main topic of any Upanishad is this consciousness which is all pervading. When the word all pervading is uttered, it includes the listener also. Because all pervading means everywhere it is. So the listener is equated to the all pervading consciousness. So simply we can say the Lord is nothing but the individual which is in the form of listener. This is the topic of each and every Upanishad. But it's not a casual information. Because a casual information you can listen and you can forget. You need to work on that in your life. But this information is something intimate, something to be taken in one's own life. Because it happens be our goal. Once you understand that I am this all-pervasive, all-pervading consciousness, the Deha Buddhi, that I am this body, mind, sense complex, will be slowly vanishing from one's life. Then there comes the moksha, free from all kinds of bondages. That is the entire goal. That is the entire benefit of the listening of this teaching. So we are on the half of the way of the Kaṭha Upaniṣad, and we are going to see today the 8th shloka, not 8th, 9th shloka, a dialogue between Lord Death and a young boy called Nachiketas. This is the topic, main topic in Kaṭha Upaniṣad. The truth behind the death and the birth is being revealed by the Lord Death to a young boy who asked a serious question. In the first chapter, second section, 14th shloka, Anyatra dharmad, anyatra adharmad, anyatra kritat agradach, anyatra bodach bhavyach, yat tat pashyadi tadvada. This was the question. Something beyond the virtue and vice, if it is there anything other than apart from the creation, if I can say, something beyond the cause and the effect. Whatever we see in this world is an effect. Karyam. In Sanskrit, it is called karyam, a product. The whole world is a product from something. If there anything beyond the cause and this product, Jagat, the world, that which exists beyond the future and beyond the past without having any change, if it is there something in this world or to be understood, may you please share with me. May you please reveal for me. This was the question, and it was a challenged question for Lord Death. He given a lot of examinations whether he is qualified to listen the answer of this question, and he passed everything. Then Lord Death started to give the answer for the question what he has asked. And we are on the way. What Lord Death revealed for Nachiketas is in the form of Upanishad, Kaṭha Upaniṣad. The word Upanishad is an Anvayartha, have its own meaning in this word itself, Upanishad. That word shows that Upa, that word shows that word shows that prefix Upa. You need to study sitting near to an appropriate teacher. How we can understand whether he is an appropriate or inappropriate? By listening 5 minutes towards the word of a person, you need to grasp because you are a matured person. If the words have some capacity to go inside your mind, is an appropriate person to teach you. If the words are just blabbering, just to go inside one of the ear and go outside, then you need not to assimilate the knowledge. You are just listening and you just walk away. And any word make you please, make you calm, make you rest. That is also something, the magic of the Upanishad, the magic of the teaching and the effort done by the teacher. So there are a lot of ways to understand whether an appropriate teacher or inappropriate. Let it keep aside now. So Upa word shows that one need to be near to an appropriate teacher. In Sanskrit language, we call the teacher Guru, the word called Guru. Guru means one who dispels the darkness and one who brings the light in one's life, who can give you complete settlement, who can guide you to the goal, who can make you understand what is right and what is wrong in a simpler way. All this can be derived from the word one who gives light. One who dispels darkness means our own habits which are deep rooted and we put effort to remove that habits, our own defects of our mind, our own sadness, our own sufferings, our own pain, our miseries, all these things are being pointed through the word darkness of one's life. One who eradicates all these things is called Guru. One who brings light through throwing the clear information regarding one's own goal and what is to be done in this current situation. What are the things not to be done right now? How we can come out of our habitual errors? All these things will be pointed out by the Guru based upon the scriptures, valid scriptures, what we call Pramanam. Here, may you listen these words given by Lord Death to Nachiketas, and I will give you the meaning. We are going to see each and every verse based on Adi Shankara's commentary. Whole meaning will be revealed based on Adi Shankara's commentary. This is the 9th verse. Those who want the PDF file of Kaṭha Upaniṣad, may you please put a message so that the teachings, what I am reading, that book is available all around in our India. Those who don't have you can write in the group, you will get the PDF of these verses. Anyway, right now, please listen. I will read the verse and I will give you the meaning based on Shankara's commentary. Lord Death gives to Nachiketas this 9th verse of the 2nd chapter, 1st section. Yatascha uteti suryaha tam yatra ja gacchati tam devaha sarve arpitaha tadu na atyedi kaschana etat vaitat. Again, I will read. Yatascha uteti suryaha tam yatra ja gacchati tam devaha sarve arpitaha tadu na atyedi kaschana etat vaitat. Of course, Nachiketas, this young boy who is not interested in the material things and who want to know, is there any life after death and after the death of an individual? Is there any proper goal for a human being? Is there anything beyond our perception? He wants to know. Lord Yama was surprised, at the same time impressed by this question, because it's not a question raised by anyone who is young. A question from the brain who has a clear vision towards what is to be done in one's life. So he answered properly. We have already completed his explanation regarding the thing, and which is available in the YouTube. Now you listen. Each and every verse will point out the whole meaning of the Vedantic vision. Anyway, I will give you the meaning of this verse. Please listen. Yataha cha uteti suryaha. Suryaha. In Sanskrit, sun is called in different names, and one of the famous name is called Surya. Mitraha, Ravihi, Bhanuhu, Khagaha, Bhushan. Lots of names are there for the sun. Sun which appears in the morning and who disappears in the evening. That's sun. Because sun plays an important role in the existence and in the survival of each and everything in this universe. That is why it is called Suryaha, Sunya, Prasave, in the sense of giving birth, in the sense of giving all nourishments and make existence for others. So, one who give all kinds of nourishments and all kinds of energy for its existence in this world. That sun, from which, by whose order, by whose presence the sun rises in the morning, Udedi. Really speaking, rising and the setting of the sun is just a phenomenon due to the movement of our earth. We know that. For the time being, for making us to understand the Almighty Lord behind each and every movement in this world. So, from which, by whose order, by whose presence the sun comes into light in this universe, and by whose order unto which the sun sets in the evening. That which is more than sun. This is the first meaning. By whose will and by whose order, by whose presence. It means that from this Brahman, who is in the form of Hiranyagarbha or Pranaha, for the sake of meditation, I introduced these two words, which is also told in the Upanishad. We want the ultimate cause of all this universe, that is Brahman. That which is the biggest thing in the world, that all-pervading consciousness. That consciousness being there, from that consciousness, everything comes into being. Of course, the sun also comes into being. And unto that consciousness, sun goes and resolves. That consciousness, of course, is the cause of all the deities which we know or which we are unaware, because in this world, any natural force is invoked in the form of deity. For example, the vital air, pranaha, is called the Lord Vayu, Vayu Devata. Fire, Agni Devata in Sanskrit. Deity is invoked in each and everything in this world. Agni is a Devata. That's the beauty of this culture. Water is a Devata, Varuna. All these deities which we invoke in our day-to-day life, from which it come out. All these deities came out. Those deities are connected just as like the spokes on the wheel, connected to the nave of the wheel. In a wheel, there will be a navel portion, which is called a nave. Unto that, the outside rim of the wheel, and they are connected with the spokes. All the deities are connected to the all-pervading consciousness. Because of the order, because of the presence of this consciousness, each and every deity get its own strength. We know that, for example, fire has the capacity to throw light and also make us burn or heat. Light and heat are the to intrinsic nature of the fire. From where this fire got this strength? If you ask, this answer is in this authentic text called Kaṭha Upaniṣad. This all-pervading consciousness, which is the biggest thing in the world, which is the goal of a human being. That all-pervading entity is the cause for the force of fire. What are the features we see in the fire? That features got from this all-pervading entity. Because of this, all the devatas, Adibhutam, Adidaivam. In commentary, Shankara says that those devatas which are connected to individual from the standpoint of the individual, and also Adidaivatam, which are there somewhere. All these deities in this world, they are all getting their own strength due to the all-pervading entity. Now, we will make it simple, hold this teaching. This all-pervading entity, which is called Brahman, is in the form of fire. Very simple now. This all-pervading entity, which is called Brahman, is in the form of water. So, it is not mere just water. It is the all-pervading entity in the form of water. It is the all-pervading entity in the form of air. So, Vayav Brahma Drishti. In the vital force, we see, we invoke the all-pervading Brahman. It's very easy. The teaching, if you listen from a traditional teacher, the teaching is very simple. There is no complication. Vedanta is the easier text to communicate with an individual. You can make it understand because there is no confusion. It's very clear. Any modern science, if you try to make other understand, it's a big issue because the technology day to day is getting developed by different factors. So before 20 years, what knowledge you have to a TV is not enough to teach somebody who is right now in this generation. The science have developed. The technology related to TV is very, very, very different what was there before 20 years. But Vedanta, you are talking about an unchanging entity, which is the source of everything, which is the source of every energy. So that Brahman, that entity is invoked in the form of fire. That entity is invoked in the form of water. That entity is invoked in the form of Hiranyagarbha, who is the first individual who came to being. That entity is invoked in the form of Pranaha. So here, this is meant by all these deities are just like spokes connected to the nave of a wheel. Means all these spokes lend their existence based on this all-pervading entity. They are not independent. They are depending on this all-pervading Lord who is called Brahman, who is also the individual, who is the listener. Brahman is the individual who is the listener. You don't think that Brahman is somewhere all-pervading. The word all-pervading echoes that the listener is the all-pervading entity. The listener is the all-pervading entity. All the deities are lending their existence from this individual who is the listener. Why we don't say the preacher, the teacher? Teacher already know. He already discovered this all-pervading entity. The listener is keen of, is eager to know which is the all-pervading entity. That's why Shraddha, the listener, is the hero of the Upanishad. As the Nachiketas being the hero in this Kaṭha Upaniṣad, in that same manner, the listener plays the main role in the teaching, in the traditional teaching, because that person is the all-pervading entity, that consciousness, which is in the form of truth, which is in the form of mass consciousness, which is in the form of the source of all happiness. Anantam, Anantam. Very beautiful way we are going to see what are the features of this consciousness. Anyway, so the whole meaning is this: all the deities are lending their satta, lending their existence from this all-pervasive entity. And all these deities are connected like a spoke to the nave in a wheel, and from which the sun rises and to which the sun sets. We can easily, we can change the meaning, or we can understand the meaning of this sentence like this: by whose presence, by whose order, the sun rises here, sun sets in the right time, by whose presence, by whose will, by whose order. That entity is the master, is the base, is the locus of this entire creation. And what are the deities? Those who are connected to the higher level, those who are connected to an individual, like Vayu. We know the vital force is the saving grace of an individual. Without breathing air, it's not possible to survive for a length of time. Water, it's not possible to live more days without drinking water. The food which is provided by the trees and nature, it's not possible to survive. All these natural forces are invoked in the form of deities in the scriptures. So a forest is always alive. A tree is always alive in the form of a deity. That is why in India, before cutting the tree for the purpose of making a door in a home, there are some prayers which we will do before cutting the tree before 2 days, and we ask to forgive us for cutting the tree, and we ask the birds and the other living beings who are residing in that tree to give up that tree and go to some other place. A big prayer is there. That attitude is to be counted, not that because as far the technology has gone, has developed a lot, and we are living in the 5th generation, 5G generation, modern science, modern technology, everything is there. People can say these are all stupidity to pray to a tree. For them, I don't have any advice. I'm not talking to a completely material-based personalities. I'm talking to a person who have heart to accommodate each and everything, and they have space in their heart, because all the things are connected with our survival. So we pray with a proper attitude towards a tree. So each and every natural force is invoked in the form of a deity. And all these deities have its existence due to the base, what we call this all-pervasive, all-pervading Brahman. That Brahman is invoked as Prana, invoked as Hiranyagarbha. That Brahman cannot be na atyedi kaschana. Indeed, tad u. It is not possible to transcend, to cross over this entity for any of the deities which we have told. Here, na atitya tad atmagatam tad anyatvam gacchati kaschana. Nobody can cross. This is the ultimate reality of an individual, because there is no division between the creator and the created when we say the all-pervading entity. The word have so much meaning to be analyzed properly. There will be no division between the creator and the created. And the instruments, suppose in this world, instruments play a main role in creating certain things. Like if you want to make a pot, if you go to the house of a pot maker, you see a giant wheel which is fixed in the ground. Lump of clay is there, which is made proper mixture, a paste with water and everything. And he have a beautiful stick. And all these things work together. These are all instruments in making a pot. And of course, bake in the sun. The pot should be baked in the sun after making that. All these are having important role in the existence of a pot. So instruments, of course, if I can say, the instruments also pervaded by this entity. From the standpoint of creation, any creation involves a lot of instruments. So here, the creator, the created, the instruments which are involved in a creation, everything is one and the same entity, what we call Brahman. Then there is no other entity other than this is been echoed by this. Na atyedi kaschana. It is not crossed over by any of the deities, or there is no other thing beyond that. Because the question raised by Nachiketas is that anyatra dharmat adharmat, something beyond the vice and virtue, if it is there. Now the answer is very clear. This is beyond everything. This unchanging entity, this consciousness, which is the source of all happiness in this world, this consciousness is beyond all the deities, all the natural forces. Even behind the sun, what you see as the biggest thing from the creation, everything will be coming under this consciousness, which is also the consciousness. Means all-pervading entity became all the things in the creation. So nothing is away from this consciousness. Everything is nothing but one single consciousness. This is the implied meaning of the verse. Everything is nothing but one single consciousness. This consciousness is invoked in the form of the actions of the sun. This consciousness is invoked as the energy and the forces and the features of all deities. And of course, this consciousness is not being trespassed by any of the deities. That's all the things which we see in the creation, all the divisions in the creation is only in our perception. Everything is one single entity. This is the message, or this is the implied meaning of this verse. Now we will go to the next verse. Yadeva iha tadamutra yadamutra tadanviha mrityoho saha mrityumapnoti yaha iha nana eva pashyati nana iva pashyati. Once more I will read the 10th verse of the first section, second chapter of the Kaṭha Upaniṣad. Yadeva iha tadamutra yadamutra tadanviha mrityuho saha mrityumapnoti yaiha nana iva pashyati. Now, this is a verse criticizing our vision based on our duality or separation. Something exists other than me. This is called dualistic vision. Division. I will explain you properly. We are all born and we have a way of looking towards the world. In the natural way, we see lot of things apart from my body. My father is separate from my body. My mother is separate from my body. All these toys around me when I am a young boy or child, all these things are separate from my body. Like lot of things are there around me. Stars are there. Trees are there. Animals are there. Birds are there. All these things are not part of my body. They are separate from my body. And I confirms that they exist apart from me. This sentence is important. They exist apart from me. They have an independent existence apart from me. All these things around me have an independent existence apart from me. I confirm their existence apart from me is called dualistic vision. Other than me, lot of things exist in this world. This is called Dvaita Bhavana or Veda Buddhi in Sanskrit. division. Myself, I exist. There are people around me. There are things in the sky. There are things which are beyond my perception exist in this world. There are things inside the water or ocean. Lot of things are there beyond my perception. And I have heard about heaven. There are things in the heaven. All these things exist apart from me. So I confirm myself. There are a lot of things in this world which have an independent existence. This is called Veda Bhavana, Dvaita Buddhi. In Sanskrit, for the people who know little bit Sanskrit. In English, dualistic vision. Other than me, everything will come under dualistic perception. A book is there, a phone is there, a laptop is there. All these things are there around me, other than me. And their existence is been valid for me. So I confirm they exist apart from me, it is true. This is called Dvaita Buddhi. Of course, a God is there, a deity is there other than me, whether it is Christ or whether it is Allah, whether it is Mahavishnu or whether it is Lord Shiva, whatever it may be, other than me, is there is a deity is there. And I believe on that. This is called Dvaita Buddhi. Veda Bhavana. Lot of things exist apart from me is called Veda Bhavana. The whole vision of the Upanishad is all the things what you perceive in this world never exist at any point of time. Just like lot of things we see in the movie screen never existed at any point of time. They are mere creation of the light. Just a white screen is the only truth of the movie. We are all experienced, and we day to day we will see TV or in the cinemas. We go to a cinema and we see a lot of things happening in the cinema. We may see trains, we may see flights and planes, we may see ships, we may see heroes and heroine, we may see villain fighting, gun, war, etc., etc. Lot of things happens in one single screen. They are mere projection. They are not having truth by themselves. They are just a mere projection. Like this, what are the things we see in this world are mere projection. They don't have an independent existence. If we go to an inquiry whether they exist or not, they will resolve to another thing. For example, while I am going through the car, I showed my friends. I showed them. This is the best forest I have seen in this world. Different colors of leaves. Trees are very, very thick and greenish. This is a forest, a beautiful forest. The next question. Now we start inquiry. Do the forests exist? Forest means group of trees. Without a group of trees, there is no forest at all. The individual tree cannot be named as forest. A lot of trees comes together is called forest. So the forest, the word resolves into group of trees. So there is no forest existing. Forest exists in our tip of the tongue. When we analyze, is the forest existing or not? Forest means a group of trees. Now we inquire into the word tree, whether the tree exists or not. When we show this is the tree, where is the tree in this? There is a main stem. There are small stems, branches, leaves, fruits, flowers, etc., etc. All these constitute one single tree. So the tree, the word doesn't have an existence in our inquiry. Forest resolves into trees, and a tree resolved into different parts called fruit, leaves, branch, main branch, stem, roots, leaves, lots of things. They are intelligently put together to become one single tree. There is no tree at all. There are a lot of things come together and become a single tree. The name is only tip of the tongue. So forest, there is no such thing called forest. It resolved into tree. There is no such thing called tree. It resolved into different parts. Now we analyze. It will resolve into, for a scientist, it will resolve into molecules. If we analyze anything, if we analyze, it will resolve into molecules. Again, if we analyze, molecules will resolve into atoms. Again, we analyze, atoms will resolve into particles. Up to that, science can go. Anything what we see in the world, it's a group of molecules, or it's a group of atoms, or it's a group of mass particles. Just a name and form will not confirm its existence by mere perception. What I want to say is that, what I want to convey is that, mere perception of a thing will not confirm for an inquirer its own existence. Anything, if we inquire, it will result to another thing, and it will end up to particles. After the particles, if you want to know something exists, you come to an authentic text, what we call the scriptures, where they say consciousness remains behind everything. This is the only thing behind. All other names and forms are just like the names and forms in a cinema. Just the white screen exists, all other things comes into being for a particular time, and it just resolves after that time. So the final statement is that mere perception of a thing will not confirm its own independent existence in this world. They are just names and forms. If you give an inquiry towards that existence of the thing, it will resolve to another thing, it will resolve to another thing, it will end up in consciousness. The consciousness being the locus of everything, all the names and forms appears. There is no independent existence for anything in the world. If you give an inquiry, that itself will resolve to another thing. Just like the pot resolves into clay, Just like an ornament, if you inquire whether it exists or not, it's only gold exists, not the ornament. That is why Dvaita Drishti is criticized in this verse. More we are going to see in the next class. Now we will conclude by the prayer. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kali Varshadu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Sharini Deshoyam Kshoparahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om